and she can do some ventilations.
You finally touch down after a 7-hour flight. You stand up, grab your carry-on, and feel a cramp in your left calf. You think it's just old age, but inside your leg, something catastrophic is happening. A thick mass of blood has formed in your deep veins. And here's the part nobody tells you. If you're over 65 and flying this year, your doctor probably won't walk you through the 10 most common medical emergencies that can strike mid-flight. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what they are, how to spot them early, and the simple steps you can take before takeoff to massively reduce your risk. Let's start with the one that scares doctors the most, but almost no traveler thinks about. Deep vein thrombosis, DVT, the silent killer of long-haul travel. On the surface, it looks harmless. A bit of leg discomfort, some swelling, maybe a dull ache you blame on sitting too long. But underneath, during that flight of 4, 6, or 10 hours, your blood has been quietly pooling in the deep veins of your legs, especially if you've barely moved. The longer you sit still, the more your circulation slows, and the more chance blood has to clot. Research has shown that the risk of developing a clot like DVT approximately doubles after travel lasting 4 hours or more, especially when you're seated and immobile. The absolute risk in otherwise healthy passengers is still relatively low, roughly around 1 in 6,000 per long-haul flight. But when you add age and other health issues into the mix, that risk climbs. And most people over 65 have at least one of the risk factors: obesity, varicose veins, a prior history of clots, recent surgery, certain hormone or cancer treatments, or just the fact that your circulation isn't as efficient as it was at 40. Here's the terrifying part. The clot in your leg is not the final problem. The real danger is when a piece of that clot breaks off, travels up through your bloodstream, lodges in your lungs, and becomes a pulmonary embolism. That's when people suddenly collapse, struggle to breathe, feel intense chest pain, and sometimes die before anyone even knows what happened. Most passengers around them had no idea they were watching the end of a process that started quietly with just a tight calf. So what can you do about it, especially if you're over 65? This is where preparation beats fear every single time. Compression socks are not just a fashion choice. They mechanically help push blood back toward your heart, especially from your lower legs. Put them on before you board, not after. Then build movement into your flight the way you plan your in-flight movies. Every 30 minutes, do ankle circles and foot pumps in your seat. Point and flex your toes. Rotate your ankles. Every hour, if you're able, stand up and walk the aisle, even if it's just for 60 to 90 seconds. Stay hydrated, because thick, dehydrated blood clots more easily. And avoid sitting with your legs crossed for long periods. That position can compress veins and further slow blood flow. A veteran flight attendant with more than 15 years in the air once said that many of the most serious medical events she's seen in seniors could have been prevented with a little education and planning. She's watched passengers who never moved the entire flight suddenly become emergencies in the last hour before landing. You don't need to be one of them. A tiny bit of discomfort now, getting up, moving, wearing compression, is a lot better than waking up in an ICU later. But DVT is only the beginning. Let's talk about something that sounds harmless, but quietly makes everything worse: dehydration at altitude. If you've ever stepped off a long flight feeling like your eyes are made of sand and your throat is made of paper, that's not your imagination. Typical airplane cabins are extremely dry, often around 10 to 20% humidity, compared with 40 to 50% in a normal home. At cruising altitude, the outside air is so dry that the only moisture in the cabin comes from passengers breathing. Over a few hours, your body steadily loses fluid through breathing, dry air, and caffeine or alcohol intake. For younger, healthier travelers, that's mostly an annoyance. For seniors, it's a real medical stressor. Dehydration doesn't just make you feel tired and irritable, it also literally thickens your blood. Thicker blood moves more slowly and is more prone to clotting, amplifying the same DVT risk we just talked about. If you're already at higher risk for clots, adding dehydration to long immobility is like layering fuel on a fire. It makes it much easier for something dangerous to ignite. So what can you do? Start your hydration the day before your trip. Don't board already dry. During the flight, sip water regularly, small amounts often, instead of downing a whole bottle once every few hours. Try to avoid or at least limit alcohol. It gives you a brief warm, relaxed feeling, but dehydrates you faster and can disrupt your judgment and balance. Caffeine also contributes to fluid loss for some people, so consider swapping that third coffee for water or herbal tea. And if you're someone who avoids drinking on flights because you don't want to get up to use the restroom, remember, getting up occasionally is exactly what your legs and veins need. Each bathroom trip is a mini health break. Now let's talk about something most people never connect to flying at all. Blood pressure changes at altitude. Commercial aircraft cabins are pressurized, but not to sea level. The effective altitude inside the cabin is often equivalent to several thousand feet. That means slightly lower oxygen levels and subtle shifts in how your cardiovascular system behaves. For most healthy people, it's a non-issue. For seniors with high blood pressure or heart disease, it can be a meaningful stress. Mild oxygen reduction and stress can cause heart rate and blood pressure to fluctuate. The problem gets worse when you mix this with time zones and medication schedules. Imagine someone who always takes their blood pressure pill at 8 a.m., but now they're flying east, crossing several time zones, waking up at odd hours, and maybe sleeping through a dose, or accidentally doubling up because they forgot whether they already took it in local time or home time. For a 30-year-old, that might mean a headache. For someone over 65 with existing hypertension, that can mean dangerously high or low blood pressure mid-flight. The solution here is part planning, part communication. A week or so before your trip, sit down with your doctor, ideally the one who manages your blood pressure or heart condition, and show them your flight schedule and time zone changes. Ask them to help you map out exactly when to take your medications for the days before, during, and after travel. Write it down clearly or set alarms on your phone labeled with local time and the dose. Keep your medications in reach so you're not tempted to skip a pill because it's in a bag overhead or in checked luggage. Which brings us to another underappreciated source of mid-flight trouble: medication issues at security and in the air. Today's security environment is stricter. Certain liquids, injectables, and devices can trigger extra screening. If your medications get pulled aside, delayed, or, in a worst-case scenario, confiscated because they weren't properly labeled, you might suddenly find yourself crossing an ocean without your blood thinner, insulin, heart medication, or inhaler. For a senior with a tightly managed condition, that's not just inconvenient, it can be dangerous. So here's what you do. Pack all of your medications in your carry-on, never in checked luggage. Lost luggage is an annoyance if it's clothes. It's a crisis if it's your pills. Keep medications in their original containers with clear pharmacy labels, so security can see your name, the drug name, and the dosage. If you use injectable medications, oxygen devices, or anything that looks unusual on an X-ray, bring a printed note from your doctor explaining what it is, why you need it, and that you're medically dependent on it. Once you're on the plane, keep your meds somewhere you can reach without standing up. A small pouch under the seat in front of you works well. Long flights are exactly when you're most likely to fall asleep or lose track of time. Set alarms for key doses, and don't be shy about telling a flight attendant, "I need to take this medication with water at a specific time. Could you help me out if I'm asleep?" They would much rather pour you a glass of water than call an emergency medical team because a dose was missed. Now let's move higher up the risk ladder. Cardiac events at 35,000 feet. If you've had a heart attack, unstable angina, a stent placed, or any serious heart rhythm problems in the last few months, flying is not just sitting in a chair in the sky. The lower oxygen levels, the stress of travel, the lugging of bags, the rush through crowded airports, all of that adds up to real strain on your heart. For seniors with heart disease, this is where things can get dangerous. Signs to watch for are not always dramatic. Yes, crushing chest pain is an emergency, but so are more subtle red flags. Newer, unusual chest tightness, shortness of breath that feels worse than your normal, dizziness that doesn't go away, breaking out in a cold sweat, or a level of fatigue that feels wrong even given the travel. Many older passengers brush these off as just getting older or just being tired from the flight, when in fact their heart is struggling. Here's the key rule. If your heart condition has been unstable, don't fly until a cardiologist, not just a general doctor, gives you clearance. That means your symptoms are under control, your medications are optimized, and they've considered the added stress of air travel. And if you are mid-flight and start to experience any concerning heart symptoms, don't wait and see. Tell the crew immediately. Airlines have protocols, basic medical equipment, and often remote access to doctors on the ground. Time matters in cardiac events, even in the air. Signs of stroke, severe dizziness, or suspected DVT symptoms, that gets taken extremely seriously. Your job is to speak up early. If you feel something is off, your chest feels strange, your breathing is more labored than usual, your calf is swollen and hot, your speech is slurring, your vision suddenly changes. Don't wait and see. Press the call button. Tell them exactly what you feel and how long it's been going on. Early reporting gives the crew time to move you, get medical kits, contact ground-based doctors, and decide whether the plane needs to land sooner. Waiting until your symptoms are severe makes everything harder for everyone, especially you. Here's the big picture. DVT, dehydration, blood pressure swings, medication mishaps, heart and lung stress, falls, allergies, jet lag, and delayed reporting. They all sound like separate problems, but they share one theme. They're much easier to prevent than to treat mid-air. You wouldn't get on a plane without your boarding pass. And if you're over 65, you shouldn't board without a quick safety check. Have I cleared my trip with my doctor, packed my meds in my carry-on, planned to stay hydrated and move, arranged help if I need it, and learned the warning signs that mean tell the crew right now? Preparation is your real first-class upgrade. If this helped, share it with someone who's flying soon and hit subscribe for more senior travel safety tips.